Welcome to the city of York, ancient capital of the county of Yorkshire. Millions flock here every year to walk the medieval walls and to gaze and visit the beautiful Gothic cathedral. But I'm here to sample the city's culinary delights. York has a rich history as Yorkshire's market town and a strong connection with food. From butchery to chocolate, it's a connection that continues right up to this day. Within York's city walls, old and new sit side by side, from traditional Yorkshire favourites to up-to-the-minute contemporary cuisine. This is York's oldest and most picturesque street, beautiful medieval street, and there were many guilds in the city, but it was the Butchers' Guild and the butchers' shops that congregated here in what was known as the Shambles. And you can still see, look, these shelves here where the meat used to sit, they're called shammels. And up above, you can still see some of the hooks where the meat used to hang. It's a beautiful place, isn't it? Today, the Shambles is the bustling home to independent restaurants and cafes. Chocolate heaven. An artisan chocolatier on the Shambles continue York's tradition of making fine chocolate and confectionery. What a fantastic shop to be in. Look at all this chocolate. And I'm here with the owner and master chocolatier, Ray. What's your biggest seller?
We've got 4 massive sellers: milk truffle, plain truffle, caramel heart and strawberry cream. They're the big sellers. Then lots of other ones kind of follow up behind.
What is going on here?
This is the one I was thinking of trying. Would you like a plain chocolate cup or a milk chocolate cup?
I'd like both, please.
Is that you're having a massive chocolate hit? You're going to get the milk chocolate, and the idea is to drink that, and then when you've drunk it, you eat the cup.
And that is warm, thick chocolate. Oh, mate! Do you know why I love chocolate? Because it's unnecessary. It's a gift to ourselves. It's indulgence. It's one of life's naughty pleasures.
One of my favourite sayings is, save the planet. It's the only planet with chocolate.
York's love affair with chocolate goes to the 19th century. It's home of many famous names in confectionery. There's even a visitor attraction dedicated to chocolate. York's Chocolate Store is where you can learn all about the history and even try your hand at making some chocolate of your own. York Cocoa House opened in 2011 and offers a wealth of handmade chocolates as well as chocolate making workshops. It even has its own library of recipe books. Here I am at the newly refurbished Shambles Market, just off the medieval street itself. And it's used today exactly as it's same as it was in the medieval era. And look at this. This is one of my absolute favourites. Do you know what that is? That is the world famous Yorkshire champagne rhubarb. Get it in your crumble. Takes me back to when I started as a greengrocer. If chocolate's not your thing and you're looking for something more savoury, pay a visit to Love Cheese. It has many local Yorkshire cheeses to sample. Becky, this is your shop. Tell me exactly what it is.
So this is Love Cheese. It's a specialist cheese shop. We stock at least 120 different cheeses in the counter at any one time, specialising in Yorkshire and British cheeses, plus crackers, chutneys, wine, everything you need to go with them.
Tell me about you and a love of cheese.
I just love cheese. Cheese is fantastic. I can't think of a single recipe which can't be made better with the addition of cheese. We've got a bit of a local delicacy. So we've got some Wensleydale with a fruit brack. So this is quite an unusual combination, but it's a fruit cake with a really lovely tangy Wensleydale on top. Great combination and quite unique to Yorkshire.
Well, the unmistakable acidic, creamy tang of Wensleydale with a fruity cake finish. That works for me. I think left to my own devices, I could demolish a kilo or 2 of that. Now, I've sampled 2 of Yorkshire's traditions. One is cheese, the other is chocolate. What I want to do now is savour the very fine tradition of good ale. York has 365 pubs in the city, one for every single day of the year. Let's try one of them, the Walmgate Ale House. Well, there's a big grin on my face because I'm sitting here with Michael, who's chef proprietor of this fine old establishment. Can you tell me exactly what we've got here, Michael?
Okay, well, you're in Warmgate Alehouse and Bistro, so this is an old rope-making shop in the centre of York, and we now run a bar and pub downstairs and a bistro with lots of Yorkshire produce up here on the first floor.
A city as ancient as this, of course, traditionally would have been the hub, a marketplace for the foods in and around the countryside.
Yes, absolutely. So that the city has had markets right from its beginning, and it's the purpose of the place at the end of the day. So fish from the coast, game from the moors, cheese from the dales, arables from the agricultural land around the Vale of York. York is a tremendous hub for great food from North England.
Now, you're a particularly good person to talk to about York, not just because you're a chef here yourself, but you actually founded and run the York Food Festival.
Yes, and we've been doing it for 19 years now. So in 1997, the first one. It's a great opportunity for 10 days of tastings, markets, demonstrations, lots of hands-on cookery, so that it's not just that you come and watch somebody do a demonstration, but you learn how to do things.
You can't help it. When you think of Yorkshire, you think of Yorkshire pudding, don't you?
Yes.
Do you know the history and the traditions of the Yorkshire pudding?
Well, it's part of the country's big pudding tradition. So the notion that pudding is a sweet dish is a misnomer. Or in the Middle Ages, people chopped batters and mixes and usually baked them in bags, and that was the original pudding. So Christmas pudding and haggis are traditional pudding.
This, I suppose, was to fill big families up relatively cheaply. This is the York equivalent of Italian pasta.
Yes, exactly.
Your Yorkshire pudding is crispy on the outside, it's as light as a feather, it's fluffy in the middle, slight bit of sponginess, but it's also the quality of that gravy that sets it apart. Great. I'm going to finish this off in a minute, but if you'd like to make Yorkshire pudding with traditionally milled flour, I know somewhere not far from here that's been milling flour the same way since the 1770s. Set in the middle of a housing estate in the city centre, flour is ground regularly and sold at various local delis and farm shops, keeping the great tradition of milling alive. Now, I'm off to delve into modern Yorkshire-style cooking and to meet York's very own Michelin-starred chef, Andrew Pern. Star in the City is in the old engine house on the edge of York Museum's gardens. It's a beautiful riverside setting. If you're looking for good old-fashioned Yorkshire hospitality with a modern menu, then this is the place for you. Now, I know you through reputation, of course.
How do you now?
Yeah.
Is that a good thing or not?
It's a very good thing. But this wasn't your first place. Why did you move here to the middle of York?
Well, I've got the star in at Hereham, out on the edge of the North Yorkshire moors. We needed to offer a bigger shop window, I think, and that's why I wanted to come to the city, to try and educate people, dare I say.
I passed this morning. I had a walk down the riverbank. Beautiful place. How would you describe this to people?
We like the tagline, if you like, is a bit of a bringing the countryside to town. So it's a brasserie sort of style, very much more informal than a lot of places, of offering our sort of ingredients really. You've got the great North Sea fish, turbot, sea bass, langoustines, all that sort of thing. Lovely Yorkshire game, obviously. The Vale of York, great produce, lamb, beef, pork, asparagus as well, through the early summer months, soft fruits. So it's just sort of, it's something to come for, you can come for a pint, read the paper, you can come for coffee, you can come for breakfast, brunch, lunch, afternoon tea, one-stop shop basically, there's something for everybody, whatever mood you're in.
You've presented me here with the dish. It looks like a beautiful bit of venison.
Yeah, it is. We've got some fallow deer here. And we've got the poached rhubarb, carrot puree flavoured with anise. The Yorkshire sauce is it's a classic, actually. Remember the old Repertoire de la Cuisine, French classic Bible? Could be.
That is as soft and as delicate as any piece of fillet steak you're ever likely to taste. You've got a slight pepperiness in there, and that fruitiness is beautiful.
As well. A little bit of juniper on the crust.
That hint of juniper, that slight bit of spice, but then the fruitiness as well. Yeah. It's a beautiful looking dish. It melts in the mouth. It's stunning flavours. I have to say, chef.
Cheers.
No visit to York would be complete without a visit to one of the best loved institutions, Betty's Tea Room. Established in 1919, Betty's is close to a century old. It's truly a Yorkshire institution, and Betty's products can be found in stores across Yorkshire. The queues at Betty's are legendary. Pop in here and sample their specialty cakes, including the marvellously named Fat Rascal. Well, with all this delicious food on offer, I'm beginning to feel a bit like a fat rascal myself, and my day here is not even over yet. One last stop, and I'm finishing in style at the Grand Hotel, once home to the Great North Eastern Railway Company. Yorkshire's only 5-star hotel. You can relax in the comfort of the whisky lounge, have a cocktail on the Grand Bar, or enjoy the opulence of the Hudson's restaurant. And after a lovely day of sampling all the wonderful food of York, what better way than to finish it with a spot of traditional afternoon tea, all washed down with a proper Yorkshire cup of tea. Ah, nectar.